in this space sharing life.
Yeah.
And so that's why it became more dramatic. It was just two people. It's just like, they always arguing. But once it comes like 15, 17 people, people are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
You never seen nothing like it before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it sounds like there is audio. I'm trying to delete the other video that I had. Okay, so let's go here and let's delete this. Yeah. How 3 people gonna like it and you can't even hear me?
Come on, we got something to say.
Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me.
We're waiting for you.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I stay Iron. Me and Ketzel, once I got off the video, me and Ketzel on a tangent talking. And I was like, let me try this again. Yes. So good to see y'all doing well. A long time fan. Oh, thank you for being here. Yeah, I don't come on here very often, but I want to. I was eating. I was eating my lunch, but I'm pretty much done now. I came on here to have lunch with you to catch up on some things. But I'm about done with my food now. What's going on? Yep, so he's using the bathroom. Okay. All right. So what's up? What's up? I stay iron. I'm in the living room with my family, so we'll see how this goes. Right now,
Why does my feet look like water?
because you drank a lot of water. Yeah. Mm. I just got back. Yes. They can see him. That's my little boy.
It's my little hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll go outside soon. Yeah. And then we have school. I just got back from West Virginia. I haven't been back home at least 10 years. And I finally went back to because I haven't lived in West Virginia since 2004. But I lived different places over the years. And the last place I lived in the States was Atlanta, Georgia. So I finally went home. It was really nice. Yeah, you can use the other stuff. Yeah, it's plenty of that. It's probably better anyways. Yeah, definitely. I always use that when I fry stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, mercy.
Why do you want to YouTube?
Because I wanted to be.
Yeah, are you like waiting for somebody to ask you a question?
Maybe,
You are so funny. You want to pretend like you don't want to talk about it. Knowing damn well you're waiting for somebody to be like, what do you think about the...
We are loud, you're right. Oh my God, it's hot in here. So how you doing, Iron? Who else is in here? I don't even know who's in here. Let me put some moisturizer on so I can be prepared to take my child outside. So I'm putting some moisturizer on. What, on my face? Oh, Kissel. That question's for you. I don't have an answer to that because I didn't watch it. I stay Ivory said, well, you know what? Stay Ivory. I came on here to see what you thought about it because I ain't watch it. I haven't watched it yet. But obviously, when something goes down with them, it's like it's kind of hard. I don't know how people put makeup on camera. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's really trippy. They are experts at putting makeup on because it's like the opposite. Iris said they didn't want to be the first to ask. I didn't want to be the first to talk about it. I love how we're all just like, so how's the weather? Oh, what you say about documentary? I wasn't gonna mention it. But then okay, that's why I go upstairs. I can go upstairs. You want to go upstairs? Okay then. Watch your daddy go upstairs. He cooking. Putting sunscreen on because I'm about to go outside. Yeah, so stuff like that. Stop it, Zen. No, I'm talking right now. I told you when I'm done doing this, y'all might have to go upstairs because I wanted, if Ketzel wanted to talk about it or share, I was going to be down here, but my little boy is being annoying. So something I can say is like, I'm talking regular. So yeah, sometimes I do be loud, but I'm talking. Oh, okay. So yes, I might just go in Ketzel's office and talk about it, and then yeah. So you said you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I didn't want to be the first to ask. Yeah, I would think that the documentary would do crazy numbers because people love stuff like that, regardless if they judge it or condemn others for being a part of it. People love the darkness. People love watching the car wreck. People love driving by and looking to see, oh, the car wreck. That's just human nature. Like they may not participate, but they love observing it in the comfort of their home about other people's stuff. Okay, but I haven't watched it, and I don't even know if yeah, drama does sell. And I don't know if I'm going to. I really don't know. Like I just been like scanning other people's commentary on it, and then when they start talking, I just got to get off the video because it's just like, oh my god, because I just remember being on the side of I'm in this, I'm experiencing this, I know this. And then you have the people that are watching it, but yet they have an opinion on it and people are consuming it. So it's different when you're in it versus when you're watching it. And so now I'm obviously on the side of watching it because I'm not in it anymore. And I don't like the way that feels because I'm not really the type of person that's so consumed in other people's lives like that, especially like with celebrities and stuff like that. Like, it's like I'll see it and I'll keep it moving. But I'm not like the type that's so invested in what someone else is doing if it doesn't benefit me any. And so when I came across Carbonation, I consumed it and then I became a part of it. Like I decided to be a part of something like that. So it's just interesting to me that people had a lot to say about something that they wasn't a part of. And I knew that this would be a big deal because it is a big deal. Like what Carbonation has been able to do is history. Like he created a cult on social media. He was able to create social media will never be the same how it was back in 2017. It was a different time. And what Nature Boy was able to do is something unheard of, create a cult on social media. That is incredible. It's incredible, and this is why it's mind blowing, and it's a conversation to have because it's like, oh my god, in real time, people got to see a cult be created in real time, and got to see all the things that pertain to a cult. See, when we look at documentaries of things that happened in the 60s and the 70s, this is what's happening right now. Like this cult is going to be a documentary, and then 30 years from now, people are going to be watching it and be like, "Oh my god!" It's like this is crazy. But y'all, this isn't anything new. Like if you go on Tubi or go on these streaming services and look up cult documentaries, you will see this is a part of human nature. This is a part of human culture. Cults are. And but this isn't anything new. Like what Carbonation has done is it's not anything new. But what the way that they done it, that's what is groundbreaking. That this he actually created the code online and showcased it. And people watched it and joined. And you got to go through the journey with a lot of us. That is unheard of. That's remarkable. Despite on how anybody feels, you have to look at the totality of something like this. So now that it's being broadcast to the world, of course, the world is catching up to what you and so many of you were in currently. You can always say, even though you didn't join the group, you can say that you were there at the time where the group was active. You was there at the time of the lives, of the content, of people leaving and people coming back. You can say, I was there at that time. 20, 30 years from now, people are going to look at that and be like, oh, wow. That's crazy that happened. But you can say, oh, no, I was there. I wasn't there, but I was there. I remember that part, Okay. Do you like the spotlight though? You have a chance to shape your own narrative now. People want to hear what y'all have to say. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing about this whole thing, Irie, is people want the spotlight. And people will shine that light on them. However, it will give them the spotlight, even if that means they got to lie and exaggerate the truth. And there's consequences to that. Like that's why I've been reluctant to talk about it because yeah, I might get attention, I might get views, but sometimes you get the wrong attention. And people in that frequency is mean and they'll say things and yeah. And if you don't have the perspective that goes along with the what group think, you will be ostracized. And that's what people don't realize is that these cults these little cults is just a microcosm of the macro of the cult that we live in today. You are so welcome. You said my name. You said my name right. Yeah, I have Jamaican family members. I've been to Jamaica, so I know how to say that. Surprisingly, I'm gonna have to go upstairs because my child is doing that. Okay, so let me go. I'm going upstairs. No, because I want to be able to talk on camera, and you want to be able to throw your toys, and both of those two things can't exist in the same room. Is there anything that you need before I go upstairs? All right, I'm gonna give you some. You want some? Oh, give me your bowl. Put your bowl in the kitchen. Do you want blueberries or cherries? Okay, well, I can give you one or the other because I don't want to take both bags out because we don't have that much left. So that's why I'm trying to make. So which one's more important, blueberries or cherries?
A lot of blueberries.
So blueberries right now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bag of blueberries. Yeah, so let me take care of Mr. Zen. You want blueberries? Okay. And I'll get you some blueberries.
They got me on camera cooking my chicken.
Not cooking your chicken. You bet. Of course. Yeah. Huh? I can't hear you. Oh, can I do what? No, I don't want to. I want to be happy. Okay. Here you go.
You got me on camera. If anybody wants to buy my wild rice,
Yes, we're selling wild rice.
wild-space.com.
Yes. Huh? Ben wants me to give y'all the angry eyes. You want to show them how to do the angry eyes? Come on. Show them how to do the angry eyes. No, come here. No, you got to teach them on the camera. No, I'm not the teacher of the angry eyes. Oh,
My coach said I need to be pushing this more.
oh,
I need to be more direct with it.
okay, then. Show them the angry eyes. Okay. All right. So after I'm done, we're gonna go to outside, and then we're gonna have school. Okay. Oh goodness. For those of you that don't know, we live in Mexico now. Ooh, it's hot. And it is hot. You hear me? It is hot in Mexico. I gotta turn the air on. Okay, y'all. Yes, life of a mother. So yeah, so like I was saying that all spotlight isn't good. And I'm just really mindful of how I want to put myself out here on the net because it's definitely a different time that we're in. And at that time, I was really reckless, naive, curious, and social media was different than it is today. And I know that as much as that was my experience, I know a lot of people still don't know about that. So this is the thing that how I see it, that you can't stop him, you can't hurt him because he understands consciousness, he understands attention, and he knows that as long as we keep talking about him, promoting him, his consciousness will spread. Yeah, there might be a lot of people that see this and be like, oh my gosh, but there's going to be a lot of people that is going to be inspired by it. And then so that's the thing that you have to, Kenzo, I can hear myself. Okay. Somebody said, did you see the documentary? No, I have not watched it. I know that it exists. But what did you see it? Y'all can talk to me about it if you want to. Y'all can share with me. What instead of me talking, what did y'all think about the documentary? Did y'all watch it? What do you think about it? You can share with me, like your perspective in what showed up for you. And there's no wrong answer. I'm not on no one side. You know, it was good. What did you like about it the most? What did you learn anything new, or it just made you remember certain things? Like, yeah, because for me, I just don't know if I want to watch it. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something. When they first was thinking about doing that documentary, they were going to have all of us in it, and they were talking to me for about good 3 years. They wanted me to be a part of it. Like, I was one of the first few people that they reached out to. But then over time, things started changing. And then once he got locked up, that's when they started focusing more on the people that were more relevant to that time, to the story. Because I was there between 2017 to 2019. I was there for 2 years. But you know, a lot had transpired after I left. So I feel like I'm more relevant to the beginning of the story versus the end of the story. So then when he got locked up, then they start focusing on the members that were still there. And they still wanted me to be a part of it. They still wanted everybody to be a part of it. But the focus, I noticed, went to the current members at that time. Well, then because I ended up leaving last year, I left Hawaii last year and I was in California. And the lady hit me up about the documentary. She wanted to talk to me because we hadn't talked in about a good year or so. And she just wanted to see where I was at and if I still wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I still want to be a part of it. Well, then, and this was after he got convicted, like once he went to prison. But then when Hulu picked it up and it was going to be a thing, she sent me this long email talking about, oh, since Hulu picked it up, they want to go a different direction and they won't be needing me in it. But they did want to know if they could use some of my footage. Because at first I was like, I'm not going to be in this documentary unless I get paid. And then she was just like, well, because a lot of people are wondering if the people that are in a documentary, are they going to get paid? And on what she said to me, people don't tend to get paid on these documentaries. That's not how it works. But she said that if somebody uses your social media and your likeness, you can get a fee for that. But the people that are in the documentary, I don't think they're getting paid for it, because that was what she told me. That because I was just like, well, I want to have an attorney and I want to get compensated. She was like, that's not how this works. And she was like, and now that they picked up with a network, they don't even know if they're really going to get paid. See, the people that worked on the documentary, they didn't get paid for any of that. But then when they bring it to Hulu has the biggest interest because Hulu is the one that is distributing the story. So Hulu needs to get paid before anybody else gets paid. But then when it comes to the members and the people that did the documentary, they're not going to get paid for this. You don't get paid with documentaries, but there can be like a fee for doing the documentary. Like these people aren't getting royalties. They're not, this ain't no pay. They might get like a little check, maybe like $100 or something like that. And I know everybody, but I'm just telling you what was told to me by the documentary people, that they weren't going to be able to pay. I wasn't going to get a large sum of money for this, and they could see if they could give me something. But she did say if they were able to use my footage, that they would give me something. Well, I think Hulu got to make the money first before any money is distributed. But I'm not even like worrying about getting paid, because they just saw clips of me that anybody could see on social media. So that's how that was. But everybody was contacted, and not everybody wanted to do it, but a lot of us did sign up for it. And the next thing I know, they changed it. And so then when I saw the preview of it, I was like, oh, I see what narrative they're spinning. And no, I don't fit into this narrative. My storyline doesn't fit. My perspective does not fit. I see what they're doing with this. So, I get it. And you got to be careful with those documentaries, because they will retell your story in the way that they want to tell it. So Drum said, yes, remember things. I was kind of mad y'all wasn't in it. Yeah, I hear that a lot. I'm seeing people that were there, that were watching it, they feel disappointed because y'all were really waiting for the story. But I don't know. You could tell me, like, I don't know exactly the story that they told, but I think a lot of people were expecting a lot more things because this is a very complex story. This is a very complex situation, and it started back in 2000. I would say it started back in 2016, and it ended. When did it end? Like 2004, 2023. So this is almost like a 7, 8 year thing, and there's so many things that occurred that So I don't. Anybody that tells the story, they're going to tell the story in their narrative. That's just how the story is going to be told. It's going to be told. It's not going. I would love to see a documentary of carbonation that's objective. I would love to see, like, this is what happened. This is who he was. These were the members. People can share their experience, but not make it be about, like, the negativity of it. Make it be about the movement itself. Make it be about, like, this is who this was, this is what he did, this is what happened, these are the members, this is some of the things that occurred. Yeah, there were good moments, but there were also bad moments, and this is the end of it. Like, something like that, like different, like even with talking about Mama Dia, you can talk about the different women he was with, talk about the members, talk about his past, talk about the whole thing. But just talking about it as a matter of fact, like, this happened back in this time. But I know people ain't going to do that. I mean, maybe somebody will do that. And I had so many people coming to me wanting me to be in their documentary about this, but because I didn't have any type of control, I was like, I got to be really careful where I put my energy into it. And I know I ain't about to sit and do a documentary or do anything about it, because it will suck you in. It's just like, and it's funny because I know that so many people are going to watch this documentary, and it's going to take them down a rabbit hole that's not going to lead them anywhere because we gone now. But before, back when this all happened, it took you down a rabbit hole. And then before you know it, you either was going to be sucked in by being a member or by being a hater of it. That's just the way it went. But now it's just like, these people are going to watch it, and they're going to be sucked in because they can't believe somebody actually had the audacity to do what he did. But now the stuff that you can find online, it's not going to lead you anywhere. It's just going to just, like it did before, because you've seen him online, and then before you know it, you're seeking and watching the kingdom. I believe, oh my God, and before you know, oh, you can get there. Like, yeah, it was a wild time to be alive, I will say. Oh, C. Williams deleted. Why you retracted your comments, C. Williams? I'm happy you and your family got out of there. Y'all was my favorite. Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, me too. I'm glad I got out when I did, because who knows what would happen if I would have stayed. Like, who knows? But that's an experience that I will forever be grateful that I had that experience. And I really tried to instill in the other members, it's like, you better be proud of this experience. I know that it was hard. I know you had ugly moments, but you don't know the impact and the power that gives you, because that's why we still speak about certain people to this day, because the most powerful people are the ones that make an impact. And it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. The world loves people that make an impact, period. And it could be good, it could be bad, but it doesn't matter, because most people are afraid to step outside of the norm. And that's why we have so much respect and adoration for people that just do crazy stuff. and it doesn't matter if you speak negative or not, people love that shit. They love it. So when I realized it was a cult, I was like, oh hell yeah, I want to be a part of this. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm in a cult. Like I knew what it was. And but I was willing to die for it. I was willing, all right, now my life about to have a whole bunch of meaning. Let's see how this turned out. But then when I had my baby, I was like, well, there goes that. Because that's not something I would have been able to live with. If something happened to my child, I wouldn't have been able to live with that. So at some point, I did have to leave. Something that really changed my life and my perspective about life. But yeah, my child uh, needed me more than them fools did. I was just like, it's time for me to go. So, and that's just and it's been amazing since. That's like a lot of learning experience since for me. So who else watched it and want to share what they think about it? And I probably will delete this. I'm just coming on here because I did want to share. But I will say this, and you can tell somebody this, that the only way that I would really talk about that experience again, like really talk about it, is like I would like to be a part of a forum. I would like to get with maybe a couple of the members and have a conversation about it, because I have my perspective. My perspective is mine, and they have their perspective. And many people went through that situation, and everybody has their own perspective of it. And the way that I would like to do it is to sit down and we all talk about it, talk about the different moments, and share our perspective on that, based on how we saw it. That's what I would like. And maybe I will watch I don't even know. Y'all, I don't watch the documentary. I do not. But it's like, but if I do that, then I have to watch a documentary, But I just know it was pieces of the story that was told. That's all. And it's just like, I don't want to sit here and listen when I know the truth. I know why things ended the way that I know each one of those people that was in that documentary. I saw the things that they did, and it had nothing to do with no brainwashing. It had nothing that I know them. I had an experience with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but at the end of the day, that's their story, that's their truth. Who am I? I have mine, but when you see something and you see how people see themselves, and it's like, that's not true. Like, that's definitely not true. It's like, it's hard to listen to, it's hard to listen to. So yeah. But I was just coming on here and to see how this went for you guys, checking on y'all, see what y'all thought about it. And yeah. But I'll keep you guys posted if I do watch it. Because my husband, he wanted to watch it and he wanted us to like do commentary and stuff like that on it. But I was just like, that requires me to watch it and really think about it. And I don't know if I want to do that. But this is one of those things that that I was a part of, and it's always going to be a part of my life, but it's not the end of my life. It's just something that I did, in a stage or phase of my life. And it's a once in a lifetime type of thing that one gets to go through. And I'm very honored that I was one of those people that was a part of something like that. And like I said, go back Go back to the 60s and 70s. This is what they did. They did these types of things. So it's not anything like crazy, but I can say that I was a part of that group of people that wanted to make a difference and change in the world, and it just so happened to be in the cult. And we're still here. Most of us are still here to tell the story. You know, there's a couple of people that won't be able to tell that story because they're not here. And we know that in these types of situations, it can be fatal. So I can understand why people feel the way that they feel about cults and things. But my thing is, I just think that everyone needs to be held accountable, especially adults need to be held accountable for their decisions and their choices. And until we can do that, we're not going to see the change that we would want to see. And you're going to always see people in these situations because we're not willing to hold everybody accountable. We want to point out the one person. But it's like if we hold everybody accountable to their decisions, I bet they would think twice before they end up just going doing something thoughtless. They'd be like, oh, I ain't got to do that, because if we don't have enough examples to show people, you will be held accountable for your decisions. And maybe people won't get themselves into these types of things as much as we see, because I heard someone say that there's another cult being formed. Okay. You know, and my husband, he has a different perspective on that. He doesn't think that these types of things should be stopped. And I don't think they should be either. But if there are people out here that really look at these things as wrong and don't want to see people that they love in it, who is that?
Christy Mills calling for.
Agent McCartney.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that. That was spam. Yeah. Somebody just sent me a message and was saying that, because people sending me messages and stuff, and even though I wasn't one of the speakers in it, but people still remember me and probably saw footage of me. But someone said it doesn't make him look good, but also talking about the experience or even watching still enlighten you of what you didn't know what happened there. And that's what's so funny to me, because it's like if you were tuned in to that, you do know what happened there. It was all put on camera, but I realized that a lot of people came in at different chapters of that story. So it will shape your perspective of the situation based on the timeline that you came into it. Because if you came at the last part of the timeline, child, oh my God, it was awful. Ooh, it was horrible. But if you came in the beginning of the timeline, people have a little bit more compassion and a well-rounded perspective of the situation. Like if you were there from the beginning, and then if you come into the middle of that situation, again, it shapes how you choose to look at it. So that's why I realized, I was like, a lot of times people that say certain things, it's because they only saw certain things. They didn't see the totality of it. So that's where their perspective is based on how they got started looking at that story. And then that's why I can take it personal when people say stuff, because it's like, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Somebody said, free the three. Good for King Noble. Did we talk to you? You know, one dude that was in the woods, and was you that one dude in the woods, King Noble? Why y'all retracting y'all message? Somebody, Monette, she retracted her message. Like, yeah, y'all can say whatever y'all want. Don't matter to me. Coach Coco Chanel said, try again. Will you apologize for not supporting Neytiri, or do you still have the same stance? I was like, who the hell is Neytiri? Supporting her in what? No, I do not. I don't support victimhood. I don't support victims in situations I don't support victimizing people. I don't support that. Yeah, I don't support it. And excuse me, I'm wrong. He didn't that part of the I don't want to say it. Didn't that get dropped? They were going to drop that part because there wasn't enough evidence to get him. So that's not no. No, I don't support victimhood, but I do support her getting her growth and her healing and her living a wonderful life. I do support her learning from it. I do support her finding her happiness. I do support her becoming a wonderful mother to her child. I support all of that. But when it comes to that situation, it's like, no, because I know what I know. I sing what I sing, and I believe everybody, all of us, including me, is accountable for that situation to be what it came to. And a lot of people don't want to have that type of accountability. A lot of people don't want to have that power. But that's the reason why people like him are able to manipulate or brainwash people, because we don't want to be responsible for our own power. We don't want to be responsible for our own decisions. So we put it off on someone else to do it for us. Oh, they'll do it for you, all right. Wring you dry of all your essence, because people don't want to be responsible for their own power. They don't want to be responsible for that. They don't want to be responsible knowing that they made the decisions that they made, and I know that's not everybody don't look at life like that. I get it. But if you ask me a question, I'll answer it based on how I see the world. Oh, Monette said, how old are your kids now? I have one, and he's 7 years old. You said no, but he may be my homeboy. Yeah, it was a guy named King Noble that used to be in the mix. CJ thinking, so I get what you're saying. Okay. When it says, oh, I had a typo, I was asking how. Oh, okay. No, somebody asked, are you still in Hawaii? No, I'm in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Do you support holding people accountable for their crimes? Yes, I do. I think that he got what he deserved as well. Do I think he should get life? No, I don't think he should get life. I do not think he is warrant life, but you know what? That's how it happened, and that's what it is. That's what it is. Like he was giving a lot of responsibility. He was giving a power and influence, and he allowed his own selfishness to get in the way of something that was given to him, and because of that, he has to pay for his actions as well. We can say it wasn't as fair that he got life. I don't think it was one people that kill children. They don't even get that. Like, okay. So the fact that he got that for that, it's just like, okay. But you know what? He's an example. They making him an example. So go ahead and do that if you want to. In Georgia, you see what's going to happen to you. So I get it. I do think that he deserves some time, but I don't hold any grudge, because it's not like he off on a deserted island with his wives living his best life. No, bro, you hurt a lot of people. You manipulated, and you did a lot of things that was not okay. And because of that, this is the result of that. And so I'm like, okay, I can forgive him, because I'm out here living my life. He ain't, but if you want to be Mr. Cult Leader, and if you want to do things, and if you want to be your authentic self on the camera and do all the things, there is a consequence to that. It's a consequence to that. Yeah. Oh, CJ said, reminds me of family. It's like when you're attached to a grandparent as a grandchild, but your parents had a different experience with the same person, so they see them differently. Yeah, definitely. That's a good point, CJ. That's a really good point. It's like everyone. That's a good point, CJ. Yeah, everyone that came into CarbonNation all came for their own reason. And then when they left, they got their own perspective of it. I can't take anyone's perspective away. Like, if that's how they choose to see it, if most of them want to be a victim of a cult, okay, cool, like, do that. Like, I don't see it that way, but I also don't see it that way in my life, because I guarantee you, if you choose to be a victim to situations, that victimhood is going to show up in everything that shows up in your life that didn't go the way that you wanted to. So I think that's why I choose not. Now I can't. I'm going to be straight up. Yes, I was victimized in that situation, but I'm not a victim to it. I learned that the other day. Like, you can be victimized by a situation, but that doesn't mean that you have to take on the character of a victim. Okay, I can sit there and say there were things in there that was not okay that happened with me, but I'm not a victim to it. It's like, I knew exactly. I knew that was a cult. Somebody sent me a documentary when I left the first time. Somebody sent me a documentary, and they was like, you need to watch this. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh my God, I was in a cult. But then when I realized I was in a cult, it made me want to be a part of it even more. Like, I was just like, I cannot believe I found myself in something like this. And I said, I got to keep this going. And so then I ended up getting into another one. They reached out to me. But then I just really believed in the cult of carbonation, and I wanted to be a part of it. Like, but I understand everybody don't have that perspective. Everybody don't want to be like, yeah, I did it, and what? There are some people that will be like, yeah, I did it, feel sorry for me. Like, not me. I'm like, yeah, I did it, and what? And I'm still here, and I'm thriving, and I learned from it. And yeah, like, that's the stance that I'm on. That's the stance I was trying to guide the other members. Like, bro, you don't realize what you was a part of. And 30 years from now, people are going to be uplifting you because you were in that, and they wish that they could have been in that. I'm telling you, because I'm seeing it now with the documentaries and the movements of the 70s. People are idolizing those things now. So I know 30 years from now, people are going to look back at that documentary or the different documentaries that I hope come out about that story, and they're going to be like, wow, you did that? Tell me more. Like, but right now I think a lot of the members feel bad about it and they feel shameful, but not me. It's like, you're welcome. Yeah, I did that, and I put myself out there, and I showed myself, and I did something that was hard, and a lot of people don't have the courage to do something like that. I did that. Like, I was one of his members. Yeah, I was there. I did it all. Like, and I feel proud about that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. It was crazy, some crazy ass shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait till my son grow up, because he asking me now, like, Mom, how you and Daddy meet? He asking me questions now, so I can't wait until my little boy gets old enough to where I'll be like, okay, this is how me and your daddy met. Because he was like, did you and Daddy go on dates? How did you? And I'm trying to talk to him about it, but he still don't understand. But I can't wait to tell him, bro, you were born into a cult. Bro, I gave birth to you in the jungles of Mexico in a little hut. And I was living with a group of people, and we were a cult, and this was the cult leader. And these, like, I can't wait to share that with him, because he could be like, Mama, you crazy. Yeah, I was. Speaking of, yeah. What happened? I don't have no more snack. In a few minutes. Okay. Ask Daddy to give you some. Well, you already had some water, but yeah. No, nothing. We gotta go to the store and get you some more snacks. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Monette, they did reach out. I said this earlier. They did reach out to me. They reached out to everyone, actually. And some people said yeah, and some people said no. But once they got picked up by Hulu, they changed the whole stance. They told me that they had to only pick a certain amount of people. And I knew that they were going to pick the people that were more relevant to the storyline at that time. So, of course, they're going to pick the people that went to trial. And I don't know how much the tea had her hand in it, but you see the tea was in it. I didn't watch it, but I'm just looking at the preview video of it. I think and then they had a certain narrative that they wanted to spread based on what you guys are telling me and what other commentators I heard. They left out majority of the things. That documentary wasn't to tell the story of carbonation. That documentary was to share a narrative or spread a narrative that they wanted to say about that story. But based on what y'all are saying, I don't think it was about the story of carbonation, Natureboy, and how it got started, what happened, and then the end. But y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just based what I'm seeing from other people that's talking about it. So when I saw that, they was just like, well, we do want to use some of your footage. And they said they might pay me a fee for my footage, but they had to get my permission. But yeah, that's why you don't see a lot of people in it, because they decided to opt out on that. Why they did that, I don't know. I'm just telling you. But yes, that's why I wasn't in it. But I had agreed to be in it. They was talking to me for about a good 3 years. Yeah, and even last year, the girl, she hit me up when I was in California, and she made me believe that, oh yeah, you're going to be in this and we're going to come to you. But then once Hulu picked it up, she was like, oh yeah, about that, never mind. And so I know they probably scratched that with a lot of people that probably agree to be in it. So that's why you don't see a lot of people in it. Oh, Coach said, I guess I don't understand what you mean by victimhood. If someone is held accountable for their crimes, that means there was a victim in the crime in the legal system. No, it's like, and thank you for asking that question. I think a lot of people know what I'm saying is that's why I said victimize. You can be victimized, but don't look at yourself as a victim, because that's why some of y'all, when y'all listen to a lot of the members talk, they're not talking like they're holding themselves accountable. They're talking like they didn't have anything to do with it, that they didn't have any responsibility to it. They just went there, they're innocent, and they didn't do anything, and they were brainwashed and they were manipulated, but they didn't have any control over anything. No, that's being a victim. And they're like, oh, I wanted this and I wanted that. They don't want to take any responsibility or accountability to their choice. See, that's what a victim will not hold themselves accountable or responsible to their choice. That to me, that's a clear way of what a victim is. A victim is a person that does not want to hold themselves accountable or responsible for the choice that they made. And I'm not talking about children. I'm talking about consenting adults. Or what's the consenting adult age? 18 years or older. That's what I'm saying. Is that at that point you are held responsible and accountable for your choice. But when it comes to these types of things, we want to disregard that and just say, oh, they were brainwashed, oh, they were manipulated, oh, they were controlled, oh, we want to just throw it like that. And that's, to me, based on the experience that I was in and what I was able to see within myself and other people, it's not black and white. It's not a black and white situation. And I know people want to make it a black and white, but there's so much gray in these situations. Like, yes, it was harmful. Yes, this happened. There was a great moment. Yes, he did things, but then yes, they also did things too. Everybody. And he can't become who he is without the people. Okay? Can't be who he is without us. So then when shit hit the fan, all of a sudden, I didn't want to do it. Oh, no, we know exactly what we were doing. And I'll be the one to say it. I'll be the one to say it. And it was public knowledge. It was all put on the internet. You got to see it. Y'all got to see the stuff. Y'all got to see the mess. Y'all saw it. A lot of people got to see it, and it's not like it was closed off. No, you got to see it. You got to see how a lot of us acted and what we did. And of course, people can say, well, I didn't want to. Well, you did. Okay, you did. And you're being held accountable for not what you didn't know, but what you know now and what you're going to do moving forward. That's what you know. You don't know what you don't know, but I think we all can agree that at some point there was enough information for people to see exactly what that was, and they still decided to go anyways. Now, at the beginning, okay, we can sit there and say we didn't know because there wasn't enough information. But after I left and after Velvet left several times, there was enough information to know that he was abusive. There was enough information to know he didn't give a damn about women. And women still came spreading it wide and low for him. Okay, I seen it. So that's why I'm like, I get it, but you know, it's not black and white. That's all I can tell y'all. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray, and I think all perspectives are valid. Even if you want to be a victim, I think it's valid. I think it's valid. All of it's valid. None of it's wrong. It's all valid in the story. You know what I mean? But if you ask me my opinion, I'm gonna say it. But I will say all of the perspectives are valid. But now what are we gonna do about this as a collective? See, that was a lesson for us all. It just wasn't about the members. It wasn't about him. That was a lesson for the collective. That's why it was exposed to the world. And look at the world today. Look at who your cult leader is now. Who's your cult leader in the United States of America? I'll wait. And look at all the people that chose to vote for the cult leader today. And now that they voted for it, now everybody got remorse and like, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry. Like, no, like we're in cults all the time, y'all. If you were Christian, you were in a cult. If you were any religious sect, you were in a cult. If you are a part of a group and there's a leader and you're required to think and do a certain way, that is a cult. But because there ain't no abuse, no physical abuse, then it's not a cult. No, it's a cult. And this is how people are able to get into these violent situations because of the cults that they were born in. So it's familiar. So because it's familiar, then they're going to go into this one. Before you know it, they're going to get in situations that are now what it is. But most of us came from Christianity. This is why we were attracted to Natureboy, because he represented what we thought of when we thought of Jesus and all of that. At the time when I was there, he wasn't calling himself our God. He was saying he's the Messiah, like he's a messenger. But then once I left, that's when it took the direction of that he's their God. But of course, that was the next step. That was going to be the next step of that. So that's if I'm going to talk about this, that's what I want to talk about. Okay, now class, that we saw that and it ended. What did you learn? What did you learn? Because if they don't learn why they got to that situation in the first place, it's going to show up continually in their life. Period. It's going to show up in their life. And that's what it took me once I left all these years to realize that. Why did I attract something like that? Why did I get into something like that? And that was a question I continued to ask myself. Who was Natureboy? Why did I attract a man like that? Why did I needed to be in that to see myself? What was it trying to show me about myself? And when I got the answer, I didn't like the answer, but then that's the answer I had to work on. And that's what I hope for the rest of these members that were in that. I hope you're going to sit down and ask the question of why that came to you. Because if you don't, you're going to repeat it in this lifetime and in your next lifetime. That was the whole point of that. That was a spiritual experience. But what most people do, what did most of them do? They left that and went back to Christianity. Because they were faced with themselves. They left that cult, the Natureboy cult, and went back to the cult of Christianity. That's all they did. So they didn't learn. You over there worshiping Jesus. You over there worshiping another man yet again. So it's just like, I just think this was a collective lesson for us to see ourselves. And I think a lot of people were really disappointed in what they saw within themselves, and they didn't like it, and they still don't want to face it, you know. And I can sit down with each one of them individually, and that I had an experience with. Everybody that came through, I didn't meet everyone, but for the most part, most of them, I knew them. I knew them. I knew their chart. I saw what they did. I saw their issues. It didn't have anything to do with him, but I also saw them with him. I got this, hey, okay. I saw it all. And so for me, what I wanted to do was like support them and like, don't let this bring you down because this happened to you. Let this rise you up, you know. And I do think that Janae was a big part of ending it. It needed to end. You know, that shit needed to end. It was like, well, the movement came, gone, 11. Wonder why y'all still here. So I think Janae was a big part in ending it. And she had every intention. Once she got there, she had every intention to end that shit, you know, and she did. Good for her, you know. But now it's like, it's ended. And so now, what did you learn? And who are you going to be moving forward? That's what I would say. I want to ask you this. Who was idolizing being in a cult? He was a monster. Courage to be in a cult. Okay, that is delusion. And that's fine. You, of course, and that's fine. See, I can take those type of comments because you wasn't in one, so you don't know. But you wasn't one, you don't even know. You in a cult. That's why I don't know if you heard what I said. I haven't looked at the comments, but you in a cult. Sorry, if you're in the United States of America, you're in a cult. If you're a Christian, you're in a cult. If you're a Republican, you a Democrat, you're in a cult. Like, it's all cult shit, y'all. This is deeper. This is huge. It's like, you got to look at what you're paying attention to, because it's all cult shit. It's all what we say culture. It's all cult shit. So we just had the opportunity to really get condensed in it to where we like, oh, we can really feel it and see how detrimental being in a cult is. But at the same time, I don't see anything wrong with being in different cults. There's cults all around the world. You know, there's so many different types of cults and secret societies. That's just what we do. That's human nature. Like, you know, and you may not, and I'm telling you right now, you may not like my perspective, and that's okay. But my perspective is objectivity. My perspective is to empower in yourself, be held accountable and responsible for your life, because it's your life. You're not a child anymore. You're an adult. And there are people out here that's not going to have your best interest at heart. That ain't their responsibility to do. That's for you. But a lot of times we can't learn that until someone violates us. And then once they violate us, oh, now you learn. But there are some people that don't need to be violated to understand. Some people understand and move like in their power. But for a lot of us, our power got to be taken away, and we got to be violated so we can recognize who the fuck we are. And that's just how it goes for a lot of people. And I know that's how it went for me, you know. And now I'm like, I'm moving more wisely. As CJ says, in a way, maybe power is only meant to be possessed for the moment. I see power can destroy you if you hoard it. Do you think possessing truth can be the same way? I think truth is subjective. I think there's many truths. Is that a word? Truths? Truths. I think, is it truths or truths? I think truth is subjective. I don't think there is truth is subjective. I think facts are objective, but I think truths, I'm gonna say truths, are subjective. What is truth? Because if you can change your mind on something, then it's not a fact. Their facts are, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. This is just what it is. I always like to give the example. The sun is always going to shine and come out. The moon is going to come out at night. The sun is going to come out in the daytime. That's a fact. It doesn't matter what you think about it or how you feel about it. That's a fact. Now you can go into many truths about that, about why that happens, but at the end of the day, it's not a truth that it happens. It's a fact that it happens. So that's how I look at truth. At one point, my truth was that I was a vegan, and I thought being a vegan was the right way and the only way. But now I changed my mind. So now it's no longer true to me. So you want to know the difference between facts, truth, and belief, because they're very different. But for a lot of people, they discombobulate it and they get them twisted. And this is why so many people get into cults, because of what they believe and what they think is true. And if a person knows what you believe, they can then make you think it's true. And then that's how you can be manipulated by what you believe. This is why so many people were manipulated in that cult, because of what they believed in. He had us believe it, and we wanted to believe it, and to the point he was able to control us with the belief. So it's not him that's the issue. It is us as human beings and how we get misled by what we believe in. So you want to take what you believe in with a grain of salt, because if you hold on to it so much, you will be controlled and manipulated by what you believe in. And I learned that as soon as I left the first time. I was able to see the difference. I was like, oh, wow, our beliefs will have us doing all kind of stuff. Okay? And I'm not looking at it like you should not believe in anything, but I just want you to know your beliefs mean absolutely nothing. Because one day you might believe this, tomorrow you might believe in something else. But you are responsible for what you believe in, because it will shape your reality and it will control your life. So you want to make sure the things that you believe in is going to empower you, give you the life that you want, that are healthy for you. Because when you put that belief in someone else, you don't get to decide what they're going to do with it. CJ said, also, I see being unplugged seems to be written off as cultish, but I see it more right as society goes on. You being unplugged to what? Victimhood is a state of mind, how you relate to what happens in your life. She said, I did follow from the beginning. Yes, they need to take responsibility for how they participated and what they allowed to happen, not negating the fact that he was a monster. Yeah, and I think that's a well-rounded perspective. Like, it's just because you take an accountability and responsibility for your choice being in carbonation, it does not mean you're taking away what he did and what he didn't do. Because a lot of times when I share my perspective, people are like, oh, so you agree with what he said? I said, why is it that I have to agree with what he said just because I'm not villainizing him for everything that happened there? I was like, no, I'm able to see my part in that. I have to see my part in that. I have to understand why that happened. Because you know what, y'all, when I left, anything that I teach y'all, it's because of experience. I don't teach y'all nothing that I have not experienced, okay? And that I'm not doing and applying to my life. So once I left, because when I left, I blamed him. It was all him. It's all him. This and that. I can't stand none of them. But then over the years, I got to see those same patterns still show up in me. And you know what it all came down to? It all came down to my self-worth. It all came down to my self-esteem. And guess what? He taught us that. He taught us about the ego and self-esteem. He taught us all about that. But it still didn't change our behavior. But once I left and all the things that he taught, then that's when I started realizing and applied it to my life and actually got to see, like, look, wow, you had low self-worth. This is why you attracted that, because of your low self-worth and your self-esteem and how you think about yourself and feel about yourself. Because that's why there's a lot of people that came to that situation and then they left. They was there for a day. They're like, oh no, and they left. But then a lot of people came and they stayed. Even though they knew something wasn't right, they still stayed. That has everything to do with your self-trust and your self-worth. It has nothing to do with the person outside of you. If you can't trust yourself, if you if you don't have a standard for yourself, you're going to meet people and attract people that's going to show you that. Because a person that trusts himself would never fall victim to groupthink. A person that has high self-worth would never allow anybody in their life that honor them with that same self-worth. Nobody can't do anything to you that you don't allow. And I'm talking about grown ass people. I'm not talking about children, I'm talking about grown ass people. Okay? Nobody can't do anything to you that you don't allow, but sometimes you're going to have to go through the darkness to remember who you are. We did not come into this world, a lot of us, on a bed of roses. We came through this world through blood and pain. That's how we got initiated to the physical realm, is through blood and pain. So I don't know why everybody think that this life that we live in is supposed to be all perfect and great, love and light. We ain't supposed to go through anything or do anything. No, that we didn't come in here that way. We came through this world ripping our mothers apart, coming out, screaming for our lives. That's what we came into this world, our first existence. So for me, I don't run away from the darkness. I don't run away from the left side. I don't run away from that. It's so much healing, so much growth when you go to the dark. Okay? Like, and you don't get to decide the outcome of that. You just hope, that you get to the light. But if you can get through the darkness, I'm telling you, you will have a different perspective of how you see life. Nobody can't do nothing to you. You untouchable. You're untouchable when you can face the darkness within yourself. You're untouchable. But if everything you gotta have hospital corners and everything gotta be a certain way so you won't feel a certain way, I'm telling you, that's weakness. That's weakness. And not everybody is built for that. But I just know for me, I know what I'm built for. I know what I'm here to do, and I know what work I have to do. And that's really all I have control over. I don't have no control on how people choose to live their life. But I hope that people, they will come to the truth within themselves of who they really are. And I don't get to name that, but I really do. Like, it's such a great time to be alive. It's such a great time to be a human being, and use people's experience as lessons for yourself instead of condemning and judging people. Use their experience as lessons that maybe you don't have to go through, but you can definitely learn from and be enlightened by, to create the life that you want and be the person that you want to be. Okay. Exactly. You can't blame Natureboy for everything. He's a reflection of your dark side in you. Who you telling, Shalom? Oof. Who you telling? He was our mirror. Especially as Black people, he was our mirror. And we was not ready for that mirror. Thank you for the explanation. So people exist in their truths while others manipulate it. It makes me believe. Meaning being unplugged from a standard way of thinking. We usually are fed by the media, or we aren't good enough. Consumerism. Yeah. And you can unplug, but it doesn't matter if you unplug, it's still within you. And I don't think people take enough time to really sit with the quietness to see what's within them. Because we can unplug, but all we're doing is just like turning the light off, but it doesn't change what's in the room. When you turn the light on, the room is still the same. So you want to take the time, much time as you can, to find things that help you see yourself, to help you see the programming, to help you see like what's preventing you from really shining that light within yourself. And a lot of ways you can do that is by the people in your life. The people in your life is your biggest reflection, because they show you you. And you can learn a lot about yourself through the people in your life, the type of people. Because you got to ask yourself, why do I have these type of people in my life versus these type of people? Because they are resonant to the frequency that you were on. So that's how you can learn yourself through the people in your life. You can learn yourself through astrology and those things, but that's left on interpretation, like based on how much you know about astrology. But if you really want to see who you are and know your work, look at the people in your life and look at the people that trigger you the most, and what are they triggering? What are they bringing to the surface for you? Because that's the work right there. My son is 7 years old. What are his favorite things? He's a little boy, so his favorite things is toys. His favorite things is to go outside and play and make friends. And he has a little tablet, so he plays his games. He loves cars, trucks. Yeah, he's just a typical little boy. Oh, okay. You're welcome, CJ. He says, thank you for that. I didn't see that vantage point. Yeah. Yeah, y'all. So anybody else have anything to share or ask before we go? Check my phone. Yeah, I just got back from West Virginia and I'm just getting acclimated to my routine again. I usually am homeschooling my little boy, but I was going to do it today, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing that. So what I'll probably do to choose the path of least resistance is just go outside with him for the rest of the day and just relax, because I was gone for 10 days. And so I'm always like, go, 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 do, and sometimes I just need to relax, chill, it's going to be okay, so yeah. And on Instagram, I told people, because I let them know, I was like, look, I know what's going on. I know that video is out. I'm not going to talk about it because I know there's people that follow me that never heard of it. And I don't want to expose them to something that they don't know anything about. And then people were like, please don't do it. Protect your priest. Don't watch it. I'm getting so many comments. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to come on YouTube because this audience is pretty much my CarbonNation audience. Most of y'all either CarbonNation or my natural hair movement. But I didn't know how I wanted to talk about it, but I haven't, like I told y'all, for anybody that came in, I have not watched the documentary, but I will say when CarbonNation Things happen, it does affect me in a little way, because you want to know why? Because I was a part of something so crazy. I was a part of it. And as much as you would like to think people have moved on with their life and they're trying to, that's going to be something that they're always going to remember no matter what. Here comes my child. Hey, I can't do that. I'm on the camera. So you're going to have to wipe your own self without me being there. Well, you can stand right there, but Zen, you know how to wipe yourself now. You don't always need mommy there to monitor you wiping yourself. Okay, well, you can stand there, but don't come over here. What are you going to do? You going to come in here, or are you going to go back downstairs?
Then upstairs.
Yeah. Oh, daddy's upstairs? Oh, okay.
So just gonna help me.
Okay, well, to only use about 2 to 3 wipes. So you don't really need me. You don't need me at all to be around because you know how to wipe yourself. Yeah. Once I'm done, we can go outside. I don't think I'm going to do school today. Unless you want to. Earth is in. Where was you at? Where did you go? Here you go. Here you go.
You gotta clap as loud as you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What they invent wipes anyway?
For babies, but I just like using wipes because it's better than tissue. Like wipes are wet. Oh, look, that was a clean one. Okay,
No, it wasn't.
did you use it yet?
No.
Okay, we'll use it. Yeah, I like wipes because it cleans your behind. Oh my gosh, then it's purple. Oh, because of the blueberries.
Yeah.
All right, go throw that in the trash.
What's your
The trash right there. Okay.
here?
Okay, hold on, y'all sent some more.
That was a blue one.
Oh, Diamond asked me, will I come back often? I would like to think that I would. You know where I'm at, y'all? I'm on Instagram and TikTok.
And your next yeah.
Well, they're asking about social media. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. That's where I mostly am. But then every once in a while, I will come on YouTube. Fold it, and you can use some more of that. Yeah, okay, go wash your hands. But I wanted to come on YouTube here because I did want to discuss the current event of the CarbonNation documentary. But I wanted to do it in the way that I wanted to do it, even though I didn't watch it. Here you go.
Why are their hands hot?
Because it's hot.
That's like
Okay, use that. You can use that again. Fold it one more time and then use it again. Okay, turn around. Oh, you have some on your butt cheek. You need to look at it, and you have some there, like right here, like not okay. Come here. Come right here. Y'all, wiping yourself is a skill. That's what I realized. Turn around. Turn around. Okay, here you go. There, it was right there. All right. Make sure you wash your hands. Okay. Yeah, I want to come back on here more. Hold on, I got what he leaves. Okay. We're going to wash your hands. And when I'm done, we're going to go outside. Shut the door because I got the air on. Mm-hmm. Are you still in Hawaii? No, we left last year and we're in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. CJ Thinking said, I have different questions. You can ask me questions, CJ, while I'm on here. Yeah, you can ask me anything. Y'all can ask me anything. That's a good question, down D. If someone asked who was Natureboy, what would you say? Oh, that's such a good question. I think one, it would depend on who's asking me. But then two, I just said it was this guy that had a cult in Central America about nature. It was a spiritual movement. And yeah, and his intentions started off good, but over time, just like any other cult, it went a whole another way that didn't have anything to do with the movement, and it started promoting and uplifting himself. And this is like any other cult leader, you know. So that's what I would say. How I would start the conversation. But I do believe at some point Natureboy's intentions was pure. I think he was enlightened. I do think he was a messenger of some sort. Now, he enlightened me because lots of these talking about I didn't know anything about. And a lot of us, he was speaking the hearts and minds to a lot of people. He was an amplifier to awaken a lot of people. Whether you were there or not, a lot of people were impacted and they changed their life because of this particular person. But in most of these things, like cults, it always ends up like this when you give one person too much power. Watch the cult documentaries, y'all. I'm telling you, I went on the binge of watching cult documentaries, and every documentary that I saw had something that I went through at CarbonNation. It was crazy. Like, cults is a thing. Certain types of people join cults. It's just something that people do. Cults is it's just a part of our human experience. Not everybody is going to join a isolated cult, but it's a part of our Earth's history that people just join cults. And it's a certain type of mindset that joins a cult. If you want to be a part of a community, you are a type of person that should be in a cult. If you are a person that is a rebel against the status quo, you are a person that's supposed to be in a cult. You may not ever find yourself in one, but I'm telling you, these are the type of people that feel ostracized by their families, people that don't really know who they are and feel lost, people that are rebels against the status quo, people that, what else? These are the type of people that join these types of things. Okay. But then because of our human nature, usually it's men. I don't really know a lot of cults that have women leaders, but usually when it's men that are cult leaders, it always comes down to them being sexual deviants, from them thinking that they are God. Like, men's egos are horrible. Okay? I'm gonna say it. A man's true ego, his natural primal ego, is to conquer and destroy and to devour. It's that testosterone. Because even the most meek man, he still has testosterone. So when you give testosterone power to explore and be and express, it's going to do what testosterone is meant to do. And so when you look at all of our physical male deities, people that we idolize, they all pretty much have a similar story. They either molested somebody, abused somebody, because that is the nature of a man. The nature of a man's a predator. They're predators. Why do you think women and children got to be protected by men? They got to be protected by men from men. Okay, so that's just natural when you give, and especially man that has a whole bunch of unhealed parts and came from the gutter. What are we expecting? We should expect this. But again, like I said, I hindsight now I can see that. But before, when I was in it, I didn't know. I only knew how much I knew of myself. So how could I tell you about yourself a lot of times? But now I can see it, and I've done the research on these types of situations and just the research of male behavior. And I'm not saying women are exempt, because they are not. Women are just as dangerous as men. You want to know why? Because we're all human. And humans have the potential to do harmful things. Look at the earth, okay? Have our animals in existence because of humans. Humans are good and they're bad. They're good and they're bad. We need to stop trying to uplift only the goodness, and we need to understand the badness of humans. That's how real change and impact can occur, when we don't shame and judge and push away the dark side of being a human, because it's what makes us who we are. But when we try to understand it, we can use it to our benefit. But that's not what we do. We don't do that. We want to shame and push it away. And the more that I understand it, the more I understand myself. the more I can heal that part of myself, that those broken pieces in myself, and I walk whole and complete, knowing who I really am, and I show up that way in my relationships. But most people don't do that because they don't believe that they're whole. They don't believe that they're complete. They don't believe that they're worthy. They don't believe that they're loved. They don't believe that they have power. They don't believe that. So you got all these people not believing in those things. So what you think, how they're gonna present to the world? What you think they're gonna attract because of what they don't believe within themselves? And they want to put that power and belief into someone else. Like, come on. Like, this is another get on my nerves. Like, bro, what do you expect? I don't expect nobody to love me no more than I can't love myself. I've been with my husband for 7 years. And I don't expect him to do nothing no more than he had been. But the more that I love myself, the more that I honor myself, the more I work on myself, the more our relationship has opportunity to get better. But if I don't do anything for myself, my relationship is going to remain the way that it is. But then even if I continue to work with myself and heal myself and love myself, the relationship could end at some point because maybe my husband ain't going to want to meet me there. And that is fine, But that's how you need to hold everybody, that standard, to hold everybody in your life, is that you need to be aware of what you value and what your standards are. And a lot of times when you find people that go into cults, it's because they are not clear about who they are. They're not clear and confident in their own identity. They don't trust their self. So they put that trust and they try to find their identity amongst a group of people. But this group of people that you are a part of, they don't know themselves either. They looking too. They be like, hey, I don't know, and this is just for real. And so then you get someone that comes in there like, well, I know, when they don't know either. But they know enough to get what they want, and they use that to harness your power and your energy. They know enough of that. Okay? And you just want to be aware of that. Don't shame it. Don't condemn it. Use it as information. The way people act and how they are, use it as information. Okay? Use it as information. Not like, oh, it's wrong. It shouldn't happen. Well, it is happening. Now, what are you going to do about it? Who are you going to become despite it? Who are you going to become? Because people are always going to do shit. People are always going to say stuff. They're always going to do stuff. You ain't nothing you can do about it. But who you going to become despite it being there? That's the question. Lindsay said, you were a huge part of it. You are amazing to have come out of as well as you have. Thank you, Lindsay. Yeah, I was a huge part of it in the beginning. I was a huge part of it when it meant something, okay? I was a huge part of it when it really was the movement of Black people getting out of the United States of America and coming back into nature and finding themselves and loving themselves. Yes, absolutely. That's what it was about. And you can't ever tell me that it wasn't, because it was. But at some point, and I know when that point was, when Natureboy lost the point. See, as long as he was uplifting the Black woman, as long as he was uplifting nature, as long as he was honoring the principles of nature and the universe, he was going to be protected. He was going to be blessed. He was going to receive the power of the universe and the divine feminine. But then when he starts talking that bullshit, the Black man is God, that's when it changed. That's when it changed. That's when it changed. He was no longer protected. That's when, and I was there. I was there when it happened. I was there. I was there when Yaya left. That destroyed him. When she left, she took Natureboy's soul with her. And then that's when somebody came to him and told him, your problem is you uplifting the Black woman, and really you are God. The Black man is God. And I was there when he was on the phone with the person. And once that happened, you saw him start changing up and started saying that the Black woman is the battery for the European mindset. And he started looking at the Black woman as the enemy instead of the source. That's when things started subtly changing, y'all, subtly changing. Like, that's when it started changing. And then when he got with Velvet and made her his queen, oh, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. I was there. I saw it. I was like, oh, this is how it's going to end. Because I always wanted to know, how is this going to end? Because I know this ain't going to last forever. How is it going to end? But when he got with Velvet, in that moment in Belize, when she did that thing she did, and then he took her back, I was like, oh, she is going to be the detriment of him. This is how this is going to end. And as y'all see, that's when that shit came with soap opera. It was no longer about nature. It was no longer about that. It was no longer about nature and the divine feminine and masculine. It was no longer about that. And then that's how things just evolved over time, you know. But everybody has their own perspective of when it ended. But I was there in that moment and I saw it. I saw like, oh, this is how this is going to end, you know. Okay, you said, CJ said, I wonder if there's exceptions to the rule on that reflection thing, because I have a person that's a wreck and extremely hard to deal with. Of course, CJ, of course you want to now question the reflection, because it's reflecting something to you that you don't want to see or even have the audacity to be in you. You see that? I love the things that you're bringing up, CJ, because it's such a learn moment. You know what I'm saying? Of course we want to think highly of ourselves. A reflection is like, oh, you're my reflection, you're my love, you're my light, I see you. Until that person show you some darkness and show you the heinous side of what your nature has in you. But that ain't me. No way. Like, no, that's in you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the act is in you, but the character traits is in you. The energy is in you. So, for example, CJ, okay, you said this person's a wreck and extremely hard to deal with. Name the things that this person is doing. And you can use it like in word. Don't give me the short answer. Like, name like some traits. Like saying you can be like, this person is selfish. This person's a narcissist. Name stuff like that. Not necessarily, well, the other day this person said, no. Let's name the thing that the person is doing, okay? That you're seeing. If you said, why is this person a wreck? How is this person extremely hard to deal with? Name those things, okay? And I'm going to show you how you can use this to your advantage. I agree. He was an enlightener of some sort. I think some of us ate the meat. Yes, that's what I did. Darren Doe, I ate the meat and threw away the bone. I got the points that did resonate, and the rest I just put it to the side. Some people got a little something from him. It's crazy that he got nothing from him. You don't think he got nothing from himself? You don't think that? I think he is who he say he is. I think he is really owning his story. I think that it don't matter where he at or what you do to him, he always going to believe that he is who he say he is. That's why in prison, he still was joining people together to create another cult, because that's who he is. You can't change that, you know. I just wish that his power and energy could have really been of good use to the world in a positive way, but it didn't. You know, it happened the way that it was supposed to happen. But, you know, I really wish that it could have been different for him, because he definitely has influence. He definitely is a pioneer of things, but it didn't work that way out for him. And there's consequences to your actions, okay? You can't just be hurting people. You just can't be lying and not thinking, and you being who you say you are, you being who you say you are, you ain't gonna get away with it. And guess what, y'all? He's a life path 8. So he came into this existence with abundance and with power and to be the boss. And if you have a life path 8 and you take advantage and you harm people, off with your head. And that's what happened with him. That's why his verdict was so hard. Life plus 10 more years if you outlive that, because it's the life path 8. That's why I know he is as powerful as he say he is, because these people is like, you ain't gonna be out here in these streets as long as we have something to do with. You need to be locked away, because he is a harm to weak-minded people. I don't think he's a threat. I don't think there's anything wrong with him, but he is a threat and he is harmful to weak-minded people. And the majority of people in this world are weak-minded. They do not know who they are. So someone like him is a threat to society, because he has the ability and the power to influence people to their detriment sometimes. Oh, I already said I'm back. Sorry, I got a phone call. Oh, thanks for coming back. Oh, Diamond said, why did you leave? Because I had a baby. Once I had my baby and once I saw that these people did not give a damn about me and I was tired, I was hungry, I left. Because I became a mother. That is why I left. I didn't leave because I didn't believe in things. I didn't leave.
They said, why'd you leave Hawaii?
It says, oh. Oops. Oh, why do we leave Hawaii? Because I'm reading the first part. I didn't see the second part. Y'all, Ketzel is right here laying on the bed. Okay, thank you, Ketzel. Where is it at? Oh, why did you leave Hawaii? Oh, we left Hawaii just for a different experience, and we wanted to come to Mexico, and so we just came. Maybe we'll end up back in Hawaii. Yeah, it is expensive to live there. I love Mexico. I love Playa del Carmen, where we're at. Yeah. Yeah, I was about to go off on a tangent. I was. I just read the one. Why are you like? Because most people that are in here, they know my story. Y'all know. Most people that are in here, y'all know me, so y'all know my story. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous Goddess said, "Did you have any supernatural angelic experiences while you were in that environment?" Yeah, I had the experience before I came into that environment. He, just speaking to him on the phone, he had healed me of this thing that was going on with my body that I had ever since I was a little girl. And just speaking with him, I was healed and I never had to deal with that experience again. Supernatural or angelic experiences. I can just say that whole experience was supernatural. The whole experience was angelic. Just the thing, you had to be there. You had to be there to really see. Just, it was crazy, y'all. It was like being on a psychedelic trip, for real. It just didn't make sense. It was always something going on. Life was just crazy, unpredictable, and there was just so many things that happened that that you just can't believe it. Now when I look at it, it's just like, I can't believe we were able to do that, because Natureboy was able to gather all these people to him just through online. And like, ever since me and my husband left, we were trying to create more community, but it's not that easy to get people together. And everybody wants to start a community, but nobody wants to be in one. Like, they want to start it, but they don't want to actually be a part of it. So it's just amazing to see what he was able to do over the years. And because it's not that easy. It's not that easy to gather people,
Yeah, I would say it was like a ride. It was like a ride in the sense of like, you were just on the ride, going through the experience, kind of just in awe, like, oh shit, what's about to happen next?
Yeah. And I remember a boy came there. He was French, and he had like this disease on his skin.
Yeah,
and
like
it was like a breakout. No, he was sick. Like, it was something wrong with him. But then when he got there, he got this rash on him. And then I don't know what Natureboy did, but then the next day the rash was gone. I don't know if the boy got the rash because he was there, but I just remember he wasn't well. So there was a few people that came there that wasn't. Most of us came there, we wasn't well, and I think that we thought like Natureboy was the answer to that. Like, a lot of people came there and had STDs and stuff like that. And by the way, y'all did not have HIV.
Clear the record.
But y'all know that. But yeah, so I think a lot of people really did look at him that way. A lot of people did look at him like Christ, and they thought they get close to him that their life would be better. They believed it. They believed it. And that's why I told you your belief is very powerful. And you are responsible for what you believe in. And that's why there's so many people today that are very conscious about what they expose themselves to, what they watch, who they have around, because it does shape your belief. Okay? It shapes your belief, but you are responsible for that. Yes, there's a lot of people out here manipulating us, the media and all this and that, but you are responsible to what you consume. And if you don't make yourself responsible for what you consume, of course, you're then going to take on the victim mentality because you don't want to be responsible for your own consumption. And I know that's a very popular mindset to have, is I'm not responsible, somebody else is. Let them be the leader. I don't want to be the leader. Okay, if you do that, you now going to be susceptible to how that leader is going to lead you. He might lead you off the cliff, but you put yourself in that position to be led that way. So that's all I'm saying about them. People going to be like, oh, if it was me, I would have done it. So you wouldn't have did nothing. You probably would have did the same thing he did. If you was in the position of him, you would like to think you would be different. But no, it's like, and that's the thing that gets on my nerves with people. It's like they want to point the finger and like the leader did this and the leader did that, but you don't know what you would do if you was in that position. Because people are crazy. And sometimes you do have to be that tyrant. Sometimes you do, to get people to not fuck with you in that way. Because people are selfish. They're very self-centered. Everybody is. And so I'm not saying I would like to think the type of leader I would be. I wouldn't do that. But I never been in a position that had that type of power before. So I can't say what I would do. I would hope to think I would make a better decision, but you won't know until you're placed in the shoes of that other person. Are you about to say something? Okay. You just in here listening.
Well, I guess I was gonna say that, when people would come and just want to like live off of whatever he had created and didn't want to contribute, they felt entitled for some reason to like food and shelter.
Yeah.
And that's when he had to start turning up.
Yeah.
That little portion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so CJ said what the person is reflecting back to them. I don't know if you were a man or a woman. But CJ said that person is saying everyone abandoned him, quick to judge, and conclusions won't take responsibility and only hears what's in his head. Okay, very good, CJ. Now I ask you, where in your biological? Oh, you should have started off with that. It's your daddy. Well, of course. Well, of course, that's your reflection. You literally came out of his nutsack. That your daddy is you, and you are your father. We learned this in Melanation 101, okay? Like, you are your father's higher self. Like, your father had you, reincarnated himself through you. So now you are looking at your past self through your father. So now this is why your father triggers you, because that is you. But that is your, I don't want to say lower self. I will say that's your past self. So you're looking at your past self and you're like, oh my gosh, but that's still in you. So it doesn't matter if he raised you. We still are our parents, because my mom and dad didn't raise me. I was adopted at 3 years old, and my father didn't come back into my life until I was 15. But I am still like my mom and daddy. Me and my mama got the same laugh. Me and my daddy look alike. Me and my dad have the same mannerisms. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if you wasn't raised by him. And then I ask you, who was you raised by? Was you raised by his parents or raised by somebody in his family? Because that's another layer. But what I'm saying is, so those are good. Now that we know that's your father, we definitely know that's your reflection. So how you will do this is ask yourself, where in me are these same traits? Where is it in me that I have self-loathing? Where is it in me that I judge and come to conclusions and won't take responsibility? Where is it in me where I only hear what's in my head? You want to ask yourself that, because the thing is, CJ, you are judging. You judged your father by saying he's a wreck and extremely hard to deal with. That's a judgment. So you're already doing it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you want to ask yourself, whatever you can name in the other person, you must claim it in yourself. You cannot point out and identify what you don't already resonate with. How can you? You don't even know what it looked like, but you do know what it looks like because it's in you. So you want to use this as information. All of you, wherever you judging another person, ask yourself, where is that in me? When do I do that? And release that. Whatever you believe in, ask whatever you believe in to reveal that in me. Help me elevate that and not be like that. Okay, that's your mirror. Your father is showing you your shadows. You be like, ew, I don't like that. Well, work on that within yourself. That's what they're here for. That's what all the people are in your life, is to show you that parts of yourself that you can't see directly. So when you see it, then that's letting you know I need to work on that within myself. Where do I judge people? You know what I mean? And if you don't like that, work on that. Nobody on that side. Okay, well, that's good. Because I was going to say, if you were raised by someone in his family, well, then where do you think he learned that behavior? From his family? Okay. So you said, okay, so if it don't work out, basically learn from his actions and behavior to make me better. Yes, exactly. That's what you want to do with that information. You want to look at his behavior and to help you make a different decision. Whatever triggers you is your work. Whatever triggers you is your medicine. That's what the work is. That's a secret, y'all, that a lot of people don't know, is that the people in your life is the shadow work within itself. They're here to show you the work. Okay, that doesn't mean you condone their behavior. It doesn't. No, it's like you take it as information and you pull it back on yourself. If you believe that people are your reflection, that's how you use that. Everybody don't believe that. There's a lot of spiritual perspective that people don't believe, but then there's a lot of spiritual perspectives that people believe when they want to believe it, when it works for them. But as soon as it don't work for them, they don't want to believe that, and that's not how it works. I mean, you have autonomy to believe whatever you want to believe, but if you have certain spiritual perspectives that you believe, but you're picking and choosing, that's because it's actually working. It's actually working on you. And a lot of times people want to run away. You know, when we was children, we don't want to take medicine. We don't like the way medicine tastes. Medicine ain't supposed to taste good. Okay. And if it do, it ain't real medicine. You know, real good medicine is bitter and sour, not grape flavor and cherry flavor. Okay. So when you find yourself running away from your own principles, that's an indication that it's working. Okay. So you're doing good. Yeah, you're doing good, CJ. Thank you, Ari. Dale Doe said so Velvet was a bad omen. You said that, not me. No, I think that was his reflection. Okay, that was why you think nobody from the group liked Velvet? Why you think nobody in the group backs Velvet up? Come on now. I mean, she may have her followers outside the group, people that rooting for her, but why do y'all think if she was the queen, why do y'all think nobody root for her? Nobody has nothing positive to say about her. And I know people would like to think, oh, because y'all were brainwashed. No, she just like him. She was just like him. But that could be a good or a bad thing because, he's very powerful. And we look at Velvet just as powerful. She is just as powerful. Okay. She's just much as an influence as he was, even with her little self. Okay. But he should have been kicked Velvet out. He should have kicked Velvet out in Melanation, but he didn't want to because he liked her. She was not for polygamy, even when she was with Omac. She literally told we had classes trying to convince her to be polygamous and to accept it, and she was like, "Nah." You would think that Natureboy would have kicked her out, but he didn't because he liked her. So that's why hindsight, you saw what happened, and he ended up getting with a woman that did not believe in polygamy. So y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see why I have the perspective that I have, and I look at these people side eye because I'm like, bro, like that's what you get. Like, girl, that's what you get. You knew who this man was, and you still wanted to be with him. You knew who she was, and you still wanted to be with her. Like, come on, and now we sitting here crying. Like, it's like, come on. That's what I don't have tolerance for. It's that we know who people are, and yet we still try to get with them as though they're not that. That's what I'm saying. That's why that's why they bother me. That's why I don't support any of them, because I'm just like, y'all know what's up, and y'all still want to do what you wanted to do. So that's why it's just funny to me. It's funny to me because it's just like, and some of y'all that been watching for years, y'all know exactly what I mean. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That share my perspective on this, but that's something that I got to see over the years outside of the group, was that's what people be doing. People be doing that. You're welcome, CJ. People do that. It's like people show you who they are, but you think your pussy is made out of gold and that you can change somebody, and you cannot. Okay? You think your dick is made out of crystals and that you can screw somebody's brains out and you can change them, and you cannot. People are going to be who they are no matter what. Until they decide that they want to change, they will change. But other than that, people don't have the capacity to change. They're going to always be who they are. In a moment, they might be different, but as soon as they get comfortable, who they are is always going to show up every time. So that's how I use this situation as a lesson and an example. Like, I take it and then I apply it to other parts of my life and how it shows up differently in other people. And I'm like, and I see how it shows up in me. And that's how I have been able to grow. And there are moments where I'm like, okay, that was your fault. That ain't my fault. Because I can do that to a detriment too. I can take all the responsibility, all the accountability. But somebody calling you? But it's just like, sometimes it's just to know that this isn't something that you have to carry all on your own. But even if I be like, this person did that, okay, they did it, now what? I still got to come back to me. I still got to face myself every day. I don't have to face that person every day. I got to face myself every day in decisions that I make every day. So that's what I tend to focus on, is who am I? Who do I want to be, and how are those two? How close are those two? Like, who do I want to be, and who am I now? And what's the space between those two? And how can I get those two to come together? That's how I think. That's the work that I do. Is that's the focus, the focal point. It's bringing those two things together. And focusing on what somebody else is doing is not the goal every time. For me, it's like I can use that as information and I'm like, okay, and then I apply that back to myself. Yeah. Yes. You know what? I might keep this up. You're welcome, Ari. I might keep this up. But at first I was like, I'm not going to keep this up. I'm like, no, I'll keep it up. It's a lot of gems that have been given. So y'all have any more questions, comments? Yeah. Anything y'all learned that y'all didn't know as far as like the documentary or just what we talked about today? Yeah, this was good because y'all want to know one thing I regret. Well, and I don't like to use that word, but y'all know one thing I regret. Y'all press 1 if y'all want to know the one thing I regret through that whole carbonation experience. Oh, thank you. Take my hair down. Yeah, because y'all know my hair has been flowing all these years, and it's finally got some limp to it. And I colored it. Can't really tell now. It was really bright, but now it's kind of like, look at that. Yeah, that hair is long. It's real long. Down D said, "Why do you think the last two ladies are still in?" I don't know. I think it gives them purpose. I think that you know, I think at one point we all had that intention. That was the goal for all of us, to endure to the end. But sometimes things just end and you got to move on. But I don't know. I don't know why those two ladies are still in. But I will say I'm happy that they have each other, because when you come back into this world, it's out after you get out of something like that, it is very lonely because you know things now. And you can either go back into the world pretending that you don't know. But that was the reason why you left in the first place, because you knew and you were done pretending like you didn't know. But then when you leave and come back, it's like, do you go back into that person as that person that made you leave in the first place? So with me and my husband, we had each other to be able to grow and heal together, because we understood each other and we didn't, because if we would have went back to our families probably would have treated us a certain way. They probably would have talked shit about Natureboy, that whole experience and all this and that. And we didn't want that. We wanted to heal in the way that we wanted to heal. We wanted to process in the way that we wanted to process. And we knew that people wouldn't understand it because they already had their mindset and how they wanted to look at it. And so I think me and Ketzel being together helped us feel normal, but also transition, because it's a big transition with being in a cult for a certain amount of times. I can only imagine the transition that occurred for the ones that lasted longer than me. I can only imagine the transition. I'm sure it was really hard for them. But it's really nice to be able to transition at your pace. It's really nice to be able to process in the way that you want to process. And that's what I was able to get. I don't know if the other members were able to get that. But that's why I think I'm able to have the perspective that I have, because I didn't have a lot of people around me telling me that I'm wrong and that he was wrong and crazy and all this and that. I got to be with myself. I got to stay in nature. I got to be with someone that also went through the same experience. And I got to meet like-minded people that really supported what I did and helped me grow and evolve from that. That's what I got. But I can't say everybody got that. Yeah. Okay, so y'all want to know. So the one thing I regret in that whole experience is that I didn't talk about it more. I regret that I didn't go on Young Pharaoh's platform when I first left and cuss his ass out. I regret not speaking out and up about everything. Like back in that time. Now it's like I don't really feel the need to do it in that way that I could have done it when I first left. But I was really hurt when I left. And that's the thing I want y'all to realize. Everybody that's talking shit about carbonation is because they got hurt. He hurt our feelings. If he would have never hurt our feelings, then none of this would have happened. But because we cared about him and we realized he didn't care about us, that's hurtful. And that was the reason why I left, because I realized that he didn't care about me or this baby, and neither did Velvet. They didn't care, and I caught them saying it. So I was more so hurt, but just because I'm hurt doesn't mean I'm going to go out and just say hurtful things. Like I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to say hurtful things because you hurt me. I have enough discipline to not do that, because then once it's said and done, you can't take it back. But just over the years, when it was still relevant, coming out and speaking my truth about it. Like, I didn't really do it because I really just wanted to move on with my life, and I really didn't want it to consume me because I still was attached to it, and I just didn't want to give him any energy. But that's the one thing I regret. Like, man, I should have, like, nobody don't care what I think about this. Nobody, and it's just like, don't matter if nobody cared. That was your experience. You was there. So as long as you care, that's all that matters. That's the thing. And so that's why, like, today I decided to come on my YouTube and just show up and talk about it. That's why I did. I was like, you know what? I'm going to speak, and I don't really know what I'm going to say. I'm not planned in what I'm going to say. I'm just going to get on camera, eat my lunch, and see who shows up and see what we talk about when it comes to this, when it comes to carbonation. And that's what I did. And I talked about it in the way that I wanted to talk about, because I know that I wasn't going to watch the documentary. And I never say never. I just know that, one, I don't got Hulu, but I was just like, I don't know if I want to watch that. And I don't even need to watch it because I was there. So it's just like, I can just talk about my experience. I can use this time, because I know what's on y'all's mind. I can just come on and talk, share my perspective, and connect with people that resonate with me in a way, or just want to have an outlet to talk about it. Like, that's why I got on today, to do that. I just didn't know what was going to come of it. But I was like, you know what? I should speak about it. And I did. So that's why I'm on today, because I'm just like, this is something that's probably going to be around forever. Like, it's always going to be a topic of conversation, no matter what, especially now that it's a documentary. Like, in the world, new parts of the world is starting to wake up to the carbonation story, and maybe that will inspire other people to make documentaries about carbonation that actually tells the story of carbonation instead of just like a little small piece of it. But yeah, so I can always say I was there. And you hear about that, people back in the olden days when they had documentaries about certain things, and they still have living people like, yep, I was there. I remember that. That might just be one of those things that I will always be a part of in some way. And I get to decide how I want to talk about it and represent it. So that's it. Miss Siobhan said, I appreciate your honesty on the situation. I always had a problem with calling everybody in the tribe a victim or a survivor. We watched the whole thing. These people made choices. Yeah. And Miss Siobhan, that's one of the perspectives. And that's a perspective that I resonate with as well. Not everybody's going to resonate with that, that perspective, but it's true. It's like when it really comes down to it, people made a choice. There was no gun put to no one's head. But I think that the reason why it's mind blowing because people can't believe that people are actually experiencing this and that people actually went along with it. And so then once the person is out of it and has time to think, here comes logic. But in those moments, people did what they wanted to do. And even if they didn't want to do it, that's still who they are. Imagine how many of us are people pleasers. Imagine how many of us are fake and phony. Imagine how many of us just go along with something because we don't want the confrontation. That's not brainwashing. That's not manipulation. That's who we are as people sometimes. We don't want to deal with conflict or confrontation. We don't want to be ostracized. That's an individual person. That has nothing to do with brainwashing. That is who these people were. And I'm going to include myself too. That's who we were before the cult. Most of us are people pleasers. We just say the thing because we want people to like us. We want to be a part of something. Okay? These people didn't come in to this cult. I'm going to say we. I want to say we. We did not come into this cult as these empowered, powerful, confident, successful people. We came into these cults as broken people that did not know who we were, did not have the confidence, did not have the self-trust, that wanted to be followers instead of leaders. We all came into these situations being misled by our own beliefs because we really wanted to believe in something. We really wanted our life to be meaningful. We really thought we were special and we were chosen. We came into that with that notion. Everybody came into that. That's how all these cults are. People think they're so special and want to be chosen, and they don't want to follow the rules. They don't want to work. They don't want to have responsibilities. So they think going off in nature and living this communal life of peace, love, and light, and that everybody is in harmony. These people choose these types of things. But they don't realize at the end of the day, we're still human. And the biggest problem in our lives is ourselves. Well, now you got all these people in one house or in one space having to deal with themselves. And because they don't want to take responsibility for their life, they'll stay in situations and put up with things. It's better than putting up with it and having to go back into my life and face myself and have responsibility and work. I might as well stay here and put up with your stuff until it becomes detriment, till somebody die. It's in us, and that's not. So if they're brainwashed, you're brainwashed too. Come on. Like it's deeper. It's deeper than that. And that's the work that I had to face within myself. It's like, how is groupthink controlling my life? How is people pleasing controlling my life? How was my lack of self-trust controlling my life? How is it? Where is the lack of responsibility for my life showing up? Where is that showing up? Because that's how I'm able to get in a situation like that. Running away, escaping responsibility, escaping the world, leaving Babylon. When Babylon is within you. You were born into Babylon. You can go back to nature, but you still have that Babylon mindset. You still have the programming. And then you're going to take that programming and bring it into a group. What you think they're bringing? The same programming. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody bringing that same program, bringing them same beliefs. What do you think you're going to get every time? Every time you're going to get it. But when you leave, if you're smart, you take the time to reflect on that. And then ask yourself, what can I do differently now in my life? You know, what can I do differently now? What did I learn? You know, what did I learn? Because I think that that experience was an amazing experience. And I know people like, but it was y'all, I'm telling you, it was I ended up doing ayahuasca. I ended up going to a plant medicine retreat, 5 days of doing plant medicines. And the experience that I had on those plant medicines, it was ayahuasca, bufo, mushrooms, wachuma. That carbonation experience helped me navigate my plant medicine experience. It was very similar, but it was similar because it made me face myself. I went through a lot of uncomfortableness and pain, but I was able to relate to the pain differently. And I owe the carbonation experience that because all the stuff that I went through there, and then when I went through the plant medicine journey, it was like I took that same framework and took it there, and it was just like the medicines was speaking to me in a different frequency that I couldn't really understand or relate to in carbonation. But then when I went to the medicines, it was like, oh, that was the point. Oh, I see why I went into that now. Oh, I see what the lesson was. The medicines showed me that. Okay. And me and Natureboy had many lifetimes together, and I hated him. So in this lifetime, this was the lifetime where then I had to heal and sever that connection and confront that. It's very powerful. Like in this time, I'm like, I don't need you to come back into my life anymore. I don't need you to come into my next lifetime. I've learned my lesson. I remember who I am. I know who I am. I don't need your presence here to remind me of that ever again. I forgive you. I'm done. But if you can't forgive him, he's going to show up because he knows he has a hold over you. So that's why he don't care about these documents. He wants y'all to talk about him. He wants people to keep talking. He don't want nobody to forgive him because he knows the power of consciousness. And he knows that if you still hold a grudge on him, you still holding him. And that's the thing that I learned. So I'm like, I forgive him. All good. Thank you. I don't want to see you ever again. Because you got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful the words that you say. And seeing, he taught us all of this. He taught us Chicos. He taught us all these things, you know. And so you use his teachings against him. That's what he was here for. He was here for you to sharpen and learn. And I hope maybe the other members, they get to the same conclusion. But if they don't, you know, that's the part of their destiny. But I just learned this over different frames of teaching. I learned it from Kabbalah, different spiritual teachers, plant medicines, and this is how I have been able to elevate my perspective on the carbonation experience. Is what that was. It was just it was a teaching moment. That's what the cult was for me. It was to wake me up. I was walking unaware of myself, didn't know who I was. And when carbonation came, it was time for me to wake up and to remember who I was, because I was living at a very small capacity to that. But then that it wasn't supposed to end there. It was just, that's my time was my time, and I moved on from that. But I knew that it was going to be limited, and I knew that it wasn't going to last forever. But then once it ended, the lesson didn't end. The journey didn't end. Now I take that, put it in my satchel, and keep going on my journey and learn from it and embody what does resonate and throw away what doesn't resonate, because we just evolve and we just grow. And wish everybody well. Yeah. What happened? What happened to young Pharaoh, y'all? Y'all remember that time? Y'all remember that time where it was everybody and their mama was a spiritual teacher and a guru? You had the Brother Polite, the young Pharaoh, the Nature Boys. Who else? That was a very crazy time in the conscious community. It's like I don't know what's going on now, but it was just like so much going on. It was such an awakening on social media and these social media gurus. You're welcome, Ari. Oh, I remember you, Jocelyn. I purchased one of your courses about working with your chart and routines. I will always appreciate your wisdom that helped me through a really dark time. You are so welcome. You're so welcome. Yeah, I did have a course where I did charts and routines. I'm still into astrology. I just, at some point, I took a break from teaching it, but now I just embody it. It's just a part of my life, and I use it as a tool when I'm helping clients and stuff, because to me, it's a tool that you can use. But I'm very happy that a lot of you got a lot from my astrology teachings. Yeah, I love astrology. I'm still into astrology and human design. And my newest thing is plant medicines. Like, yeah, I've taken them twice. And I'm just going to allow that journey to unfold the way that it's supposed to. Because I know a lot of people abuse plant medicines, but you got to really take the time to integrate. And that's how I look at carbonation. You got to take the time to integrate that. This is what I tell the members. Like, you got to take the time to integrate that experience. And I think that's the reason why I didn't say anything to y'all for many years, because I was taking the time to really process and integrate what I learned so that I could see what was true and what was just bullshit. And I'm still learning a lot of things. A lot of his teachings, some of the teachings was original teachings. So I can't just go online and learn it. And then a lot of it was just regurgitated information. But you got to take whatever you choose to do, you got to take the time to integrate what you are learning and exposing yourself to. So even if you're a mother and you just became a mom, you got to take the time to integrate becoming a mother. Okay? You ain't never been a mother, so how you supposed to know what to do? And so just like in your spirituality, you got to take the time to integrate that. And in your experiences, you got to take the time to integrate it, to really sit with it and process it and feel it out, And with that carbonation experience, it's so many layers to it. It's just not linear. You cannot look at it. Y'all, I couldn't even make this whole channel just my carbonation journal, just all the many perspectives that I have through all of my experiences. Like, I have reasons why I have the perspective about all my experiences, down to being his wife at one point. I was his wife 3 times, doing the polygamy thing. What else? The diet, learning from that, traveling, being in the tropics, being a part of a community, women, my perspective on women, my perspective on men, parenting, like all of that has really, that experience has shaped who I am today. But I'd say that it has expanded and evolved so much more than the stuff that I learned in carbonation. But I just had so many different perspectives on that situation, of what I learned. Yeah, that's how I look at it. And sometimes I do want to talk to some of the members, just to have a conversation, because they were there. And I can talk to y'all, but y'all wasn't there, But the people that were there, I would love to sit down and talk to them. But sometimes when I do try to talk to them, it's like, God, I can see why we don't talk to each other. Like, some people's perspectives, they understand, and some people's perspective, they still don't understand. And some people, they think it's their responsibility to take over what he couldn't finish. You know that there's some members that really think that they're supposed to be him. And I'm like, okay, you saw the result of what happened with him. If you want to go ahead and be for God, go ahead. But you're supposed to learn from him, not emulate and do exactly what he did. You're supposed to have wisdom through his choices, not. And that's the men. That's some of the men in that group that think that they're supposed to take over his role. And I'm just like, nah. No, that's not how that works. But I'm like, you stay right over there. Go ahead and do that. You stay right over there. But I accept things the way that they are. If we're not in each other's lives anymore, that's fine. That was just an experience that our soul signed up for in this lifetime to come, and that experience is done, and that's as far as it's supposed to go. And I accept that. Now, if any of them come back into my life and want to talk to me, I'm always here. For the most of them. Some of them, no, stay over there. But for the most of them, the women especially, I'm always open to connecting with them. I'm not shunned off from anyone, but I also give people their space. And I know that experience was what it was, and it's over, and we're all going our own separate ways. That's how I like to look at it. Young Pharaoh crashed out. Yeah, I wasn't a big follower. I didn't know anything of him until I went to CarbonNation. Oh wow, he was given some. You think he was given some laced weed? Yeah. All good things come to an end, right? I just think that moment had came to a head, and you notice all of those men, they're either in jail or they're just not relevant anymore. Like when you think about like the masculine guru teacher, that has come to the head now. Because now it's like the feminine energy is waking up, and now it's like we aren't under that fog of the man is God and we're worshipers of the man and all this and that. It's like women are starting to really wake up. And I'm not saying that this is a positive thing. I'm just saying that women are getting out of that spell of looking at men in a certain way that we used to. It's happening. I don't know what you call it. You can name it. I don't know. But I just know that we were under a spell. And if you look at the conversations, the books about God, it's all male centered. It's all centered around men. But because men are who they are, they have abused the power that they were given. So now there's going to be a shift of power. And it's slowly happening, but you can see it. And that's why these men like the Natureboys and the Jamals and the Puff Daddies and all of these men that were giving this power and wealth and influence, they all got put in jail. Because you want to know why? Because they abused their power. That is why. They abused their power, and you can't do that. As men, you cannot do that. Because you have an advantage that women don't have. You have testosterone, you have strength, you have the ability to kill somebody with your bare hands. You have that physical power, and men have taken advantage of it. And so now it's going to be transferring into women. And then we'll see what that look like. I ain't gonna say that's the answer. I'm just gonna tell you we're coming back to the balance. But usually balance, it has to be on this side, all the way to this side, and then they gotta get all the way to this side, and then it gets to here. So we will see what that looks like, because a lot of the planets are changing their signs that been in those signs for umpteenth years. So a lot of the planets are changing signs. So that's why the energy is changing. And when I went to carbonation, it was the beginning of the 9-year cycle that we were just in. That was a whole 9-year cycle. And I forgot what Chinese years was, or what animals was in those years. I don't know. So if anybody knows, let me know. But I will say with the numbers, when I went into carbonation, it was on a collective one, and I'm a life path one. And so it all started really, carbonation or melanation started at the last cycle we were in. So it was a whole 9-year cycle, but that cycle has ended. And now we're starting a new cycle. We're starting the next 9 years. So I'm looking forward to seeing what those 9 years are going to look like, and who you're going to become, who I'm going to become. Because I'm going to tell you something, that in the last 9 years, ooh, child, oh my God, them years was crazy. That last cycle was crazy. Okay, it was crazy. Y'all, I cannot believe I'm on here talking for 2 hours and 30 minutes when I just like, let me just get on here and eat my breakfast. And I'm sitting here talking to y'all. But I will say that, I'm going to call in, maybe connecting with if some old members wanted to connect with me and they want to do a video with me, and we just talk and have a conversation, and y'all can witness the conversation and ask questions. I would love that, because I love hearing myself talk, but I don't always just like talking to myself. Like, I want to talk to people. Like, I want to talk about this. Me and my husband talk about carbonation all the time, but I want to be able to talk to other members. And even if they don't agree with me, I don't care if they don't agree with me. We can disagree, and you don't have to be rude or get in your feelings about it, But yeah, just talk, have a conversation like about that experience. I think it would be so cool. So I'm calling that out. I'm calling that out. Some of the women of carbonation reach out to me, and let's have a conversation. Yeah. He was a master teacher, and we were too. Oh, Jocelyn said, currently reading When God Was a Woman. Oh, wow. Interesting. I didn't know that book existed. What do you like about that book? What are you learning about that book, Jocelyn? Yep, the ego was all their downfall. The ego was all of our downfall. Irie, for real. Everybody, all of us, our egos. For real. Our egos really was the downfall. That's such a wonderful opportunity and experience. Because I don't know about y'all, but living in this world now, it's lonely. And it's like you want to be a part of your family, your blood family, but if you don't resonate with them, it's almost like you got to lower your frequency to be with them. But I say the thing that I liked about carbonation, I didn't have to do that. I could, for the most part, I could be myself. But when I say for the most part, it's because he only wanted you to bring your highest frequency to him. And for us, we didn't know what that meant. He didn't want us to be sad. He didn't want us to worry. He didn't want us to doubt. He wanted us to be powerful manifestors, at the same time sucking our energy. But we didn't know how to do that. We didn't know how to be like him in that way. We was always worried about something. So the thing that me and my husband both appreciate about carbonation was that we did have a group of people. We were with people that we resonated with. And I'm going to say for the most part, because now y'all find out that wasn't true, but he made sure that we treated each other a certain way. And it was just nice to be able to learn how to live with a lot of people. and share and move together and live together and teach and have fun and go through those hard experiences together. That is not something you get often, and you don't even get that with your own family. Okay. And so when me and Ketzel left, we just knew we was going to be able to get that on our own. And it has not been easy. And now I don't even know if I don't even want that. I don't even want to be a part of no damn community. Like, but I do want to have people in my life that resonate with me, and that we're into some certain things. We don't all have to just have the same mind, do the same thing, move the same way, but we are moving in a direction. We're conscious. We're doing our best to be conscious, sovereign human beings, and being assets instead of liabilities to each other. Like, that's what I want. You know, we don't have to live together. You can have your house. I have my house. Hey. Well, it's 5:00. So do you think any children are out there? Because I would hate to go out there and there's no children out there.
Let's go at 6:00.
Okay. All right. Thank you. My child is so understanding. He hasn't been outside all day. Like, he's not allowed to go outside by himself anymore because he be doing too much. So he's been in the house all day. But it's hot now, so he probably ain't really that concerned with it. But yeah, what was this? Yeah, like I like the aspect of being in a community or having a community of people. Like right now, I have a homeschool group that it's a community of parents and children here in Playa, and I love it. We don't live together, and I'm sure all these parents, we don't have the same mindset and values. But the one thing we do share is homeschool. The one thing we do care about is giving our child experiences and bringing them together with other children and homeschooling them and educating them. That's the one thing we do agree with. Other than that, I don't know none of these people like that. So I don't think that I need to be in a situation like I don't want to be in a situation like I was in CarbonNation. I don't want to live with people. I don't want to live under one roof with people. We can have some land, and you got your house, you have your bathroom and kitchen, I have my bathroom and kitchen. Like, we all live on the same land together, have our own homes and stuff like that. We don't even have to do everything together, but just have a community of people that we want similar things, I think would be nice. But I definitely do not want the CarbonNation experience again. I do not want to live with a whole bunch of people like that. Like, and everybody don't have to be thinking in one mind like that. But I do appreciate people that I can have conversations with. I do appreciate people that are into some things that I'm into, and they're conscious and aware of themselves. I do appreciate that, but it doesn't have to look like the way that I do it. You know what I'm saying? It could be in a way where I'm like, oh, you inspire me in ways that I didn't even think about, and vice versa. Like, that's what I would like. And since being in Playa, I've been receiving that. I've been meeting a lot of interesting people. I've been meeting a lot of people that are really curious and excited about what I do. They love that I'm into astrology and human design. They love hearing my story. I meet people that love everything about what I'm into. You know what I mean? I love that. Like, I don't really like being around people that aren't, but it doesn't mean I can't be. Let's put it that way. Like, I love my family, like my blood family, but none of them ain't into what I'm into. But that doesn't mean I can't spend time with them. That doesn't mean they can't be in my life just because they're not on the same tip that I'm on. But I learned to just appreciate them for who they are, and they don't have to bring value to my life. They're my family. You know, maybe it's for me to bring value to theirs. So, but I love when other people can pour into my cup, because there's a lot of times I'm meant to pour into other people's cups. So that's what I look for. That's like more of my intention now, because if I'm sitting here waiting on somebody to be exactly like me, to be and the things that I'm into, I will be alone. I'm an individual. I'm unique. There ain't nobody like me. So I should not be expecting that. Why would I want that? Like me and my husband, we together, and him and I, we're similar, but we're different. Like him and I, we like some of the same things. For the most part, our main values we still share, but on the other no, we're not into the same things, and we have learned to be okay with that. Before we was still in the mindset carbonation where you got one mind, one accord, and then he's this and that. I gotta follow and listen to him. But no, that's you already know, just based on who I am, that didn't last very long. And it wasn't nothing personal to him. It's just that's not who I am. Like no, that's not who I am. So we have learned to work with that in our relationship, that we are who we are, and it's okay if we don't agree on the same things all the time, but we definitely can respect each other and support each other in whatever that growth looks like for that person. Oh, I'm glad you will tune in. Yeah, mutually beneficial. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I need some water. Oh my goodness. Somebody said, ultimately, it's up to you, but honestly, I think it's best to leave it alone. You have elevated and outgrown all of that stuff, and I don't think going back would help. So, nah, I'm sending you so much love and hugs. People are really sweet. All right, y'all. I'm going to get off of here. If y'all don't have nothing else to share or talk about, I'm going to call this today. I will get back on. I will start coming on a little bit more, and we can connect and chat, and I'll have more topics that we can talk about. So I will talk to you later. Thanks everybody for contributing to the conversation. Be well, and we'll talk soon.